Welcome back to Keep Expecting Miracles. I am Elissa.
And I'm Jessica.
This is our fourth episode that we're putting out, Jessica.
Yep, our fourth one.
That is like
I know.
sorry.
It
Sorry if that was
is.
loud in the microphone, guys, but we have been getting real-time feedback from our friends, our family members that has been mind-blowing. So it's like, wow, we knew this was going to be good. We knew that we the messages that we wanted to share were going to impact people, but we're seeing the healing in real time. So that is just like, whoa, what are we doing?
Yes, yes. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. And I love how your family and friends have been showing up. I love that so much. And
Yeah.
sharing.
Yeah. Well, yours too. I mean,
Yes.
it was so crazy. Me and Jessica, we were talking, and my brother had called me this week, and he had listened to. He was like, "This is good." He listened to the episode. He's like, "This is really good," and he is somebody that listens to podcasts. Like he is a podcast, an avid podcast listener. And so when you listen to a lot of podcasts, you kind of develop a certain ear. So his opinion is very, very valued to me. And he's just an amazing person anyways. But
Mhm.
he's with the feedback that he gave me, I was just like, oh my gosh. He's my younger brother too, so it's just like when somebody younger than you gives you those type of compliments, you're just like, okay, I'm good. And then when you told me that your dad said the exact same thing, I was like, oh,
Yes.
okay.
What blew me away, he's probably going to watch this one, but what blew me away is the fact that he sat there and watched the episode in its entirety. I was like,
Yeah.
I thought, I was like, hey, let me show you something. And look, it's me and Alyssa. Like, we started this, we're on YouTube. And he, what I thought was going to be like just a 5 minute, oh, okay, that's cool. Now let me go to the other videos that I want to watch.
Yeah.
He watched
Yeah.
it and then was looking for more episodes.
Oh
And
wow.
then
Wow.
it made him go down memory lane. It was crazy because it was really a heavenly confirmation that we're moving in the right direction, because what you told me your brother said, he used the same exact words. And this is just what, one day after, or was it the same day? It was the same day.
It was
You
the
told me
same
what
day.
your brother said in the morning,
Yeah.
and
Well,
he's
he
telling me this at night,
yeah. Well, my
the night
brother didn't
before.
listen to it the night before. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, but I didn't say anything about it. And so usually when those type of coincidences happen, um, it's like God giving me like, hey, you're moving in the right direction. Like, this is a thumbs
Yes.
up. This is a kudos. Now keep going.
Yes, we're in alignment. I think
Mm-hmm.
that is one of the things that when you start something new, obviously you're like, should I be doing this? Because obviously it takes a lot of time. We
Mm-hmm.
are both moms. You run a business. We both have things that are going on. So this it takes a significant amount of energy and time. And so it's good to see like, okay, we are doing something that we're supposed to be doing. We are in alignment. And what my
Yeah.
brother and Jessica's dad shared was that we're having conversations that are impacting people. Intelligent conversations, stuff that people are thinking that don't really talk about, and stuff that it's things that people need to hear. They both said that. So it's just like,
Yes.
oh, okay, like alrighty. So it kind of what it did for me was it brought a new meaning and a new mission to why we're doing this.
Yes.
Like we obviously know that this we're going to be we're talking about our journeys and how we transformed and obviously still transforming, but what this is going to do for people is help them transform as well. So
Yes.
we want to speak to our listeners very intentionally, and we want to just be vessels for the messages that need to come through, and just be led by our intuition and our guides and obviously the Lord. So we're very, very excited to continue and just get right into today's topic. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the I am segment, that's our main segment. It represents us and our divinity and how we maintain that. Um, so it's anything from self care, setting boundaries, which is what we're going to be talking about today, is prioritizing your peace when it comes to managing family dynamics. We know that the holidays are here. It's not like they're coming up. They're here. They came back. It came so fast. Like, oh my gosh, it's November and about to be Thanksgiving. Um, but just what that looks like when you set a boundary with family, and how do you prioritize your mental health? How do you prioritize your peace and still be connected to them? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I'm excited to get into that today. But I want to take a
Yes.
second. If you're listening, please rate and review us on whatever podcast platform. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on Spreaker, we're on like Audible. Isn't that
Yes, we
crazy?
are on Audible.
We're on
Mm-hmm.
Audible. That's so, oh my gosh, it's like mind blowing. And Amazon Music.
Yes, so you can listen to us anywhere and everywhere, even if someone, you don't have to pay for a subscription necessarily, where you can listen to us for free. So
Yes,
everywhere.
yes,
And I
yes.
and I want to make sure that we also intentionally state that when you're listening to us, because a lot of the time, Alyssa and I also tend to forget what we've said, which we realize that some of this is channeling
Mm-hmm.
because it's coming
Mm-hmm.
through us and going out into the
Yeah.
airwaves. Um, and what comes with that is a lot of healing that happens. Once we press record, it's like we step into a portal.
Mm.
And while we're in this portal, it's healing not just for us, but also for everyone who's listening.
Mm-hmm.
That episode that my dad watched ended up turning into a 2 hour conversation of him and I, um, which is not usual. It's not normal. Of him telling
Wow.
me about his childhood and how our
Wow.
episode relates to that. And we don't
Wow.
usually have conversations like that. And now these are two men.
Two
So,
men. That,
mhm,
yes. Yes, we
your
me and
brother and my dad. So,
yes.
we're here as women, as mothers, um, and we're reaching men. So please share us. And I think that this is a wonderful lead in into the topic of today.
Yes, it is a wonderful lead in. Yes, share us, watch us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram at Keep Expecting Miracles Pod. YouTube is Keep Expecting Miracles. But so today, we specifically, like you said, wanted to talk about family dynamics because we all have family dynamics. We all are in
Yes.
families, whether we're around them or not. And because, typically around the holidays, you are around your family. But this year is different from me and my nuclear family, me and my husband, because we've lived away. We've lived in different states for the last 10 years. And
Wow.
so we got married when we lived away in a different state. So we were able to create our own traditions, our own rituals, and our own like nuclear family safe haven when it came to the holidays. Like, people had to come to us, or if even if we travel to other people, we you know were s- we were still in charge of that because we were the ones traveling. But obviously, once I had the kids, people came to us, and so it was like our turf, our rules, like our. And so now that we're back living in the same state as our families in Florida, it's like, oh shoot, like we got to be in their territory, we got to be around them, like, okay,
Yeah.
like. And so at first we were just gonna stay home. We were just like, but that's the easy thing to do, to just not deal. But I'm like, this is the first Christmas that the first holiday season that we're gonna be back in Florida. We have to visit our family. Hello, like, I'm not,
Right.
we don't want to, we're both very family oriented people. And it's just like, I don't want to cut the connections off that I do have. I don't want to just not see all of my family because of certain situations or certain dynamics or certain things. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're gonna be navigating very shortly. We have so for me it's the reason why I said everybody has family dynamics because and obviously I'm going to be very open with my family, but I'm going to be respectful of them too. It's one side of my family, the issues are very out there and very in your face. And so it's, automatically you're just like, "Ew, I don't know if I want to deal with that." And the other side of my family, the issues are underlying. And if you're not tapped in, or if you're, I mean, I obviously, am very intuitive, and to me, underlying issues are also in my face. But for some people, it's just like, okay, I can be around them. It's fine. Like, yeah, we'll just, and so, but for me, I'm always like in a space of like, okay, of mindfulness of like, how do I navigate this? What do I do? And so now that I am older and more intentional about how I direct my energy and how I spend my energy, I made it a priority to balance and plan what it looks like being around those family members, both of those families. And the theme is prioritizing my peace. That's a
Right.
priority to me.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily just not be around any of them. But that's like I said, I want to create connection. I want to build memories with my children. I want my children to know these family members for obvious reasons. We talked about communing with their ancestors and their family member in our family members last episode. And so, it's very important for our kids to grow up around their family, to me, when it comes to healing, when it comes to moving forward, when it comes to knowing yourself. And so I can't deny my kids of that. But it's like, okay, what does that look like when I have my own boundaries set? Like, what does that look
Right.
like? And so I found it helpful just to reframe, like, I'm doing this because I value my peace, I value my mental health, and if I want my kids to get the best version of me, I can do that. I don't have to overextend myself. I don't have to do something that I don't feel comfortable doing, or be around people that I don't feel comfortable being around, because it will affect me. You can
Mm-hmm.
come up with plans, you can come up with different things that work for you, different boundaries and different so for example, like, we're staying in an Airbnb, and so we'll be doing things with both family members on, different days, and, fun activities. And, I'm going to be going to the spa, one of those days. My husband's going to be hanging out with, his dad. And, obviously football is big around the holidays too. So there's going to be a lot of things for us to, tap into and enjoy. And so I'm just like, okay, if that is at the forefront of my mind, rather than like, what do I do? Like, stay in your grounding, stay in your peace. Let that be the guiding light, and then everything else will come and flow. So we'll
Yes.
see how it goes. I'll have to come back and update
Yes.
everybody.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
Yes. This holiday is also different for myself and my family because every year we have created a container, is what I would call it. A container where we would also book an Airbnb, or, well, not an Airbnb, girl. I would stay at resorts. Okay. It would have to have a water park. It has to be like, for a while we had a timeshare. We don't have it anymore because I ended up not liking it. But anyway, so we would stay somewhere and I would invite everybody, my side of the family, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sister. Then we would invite my husband's sisters and, their family, whomever wants to come and meet here. Because with me and my Cancer sun and moon self, I love just family being together. I also grew up that way. So I'm like, well, it's Thanksgiving. Everybody got to be together. We all need to, come together, and why not have fun while we're at it? So
Hmm.
Thanksgiving always for me is a time of celebration, a time of joy, a time of being together despite any issues that may be around in the family, you know. Um, and so this year, we're not doing that. And so, I let it be known, hey, the Ewings aren't doing it this year. So we're open to invitations because I realized time was ticking. And I was like,
Right.
oh, shoot, I don't think they know. I don't think they know
That
that
you're not
we're
doing
not
it.
doing that. Yeah. We didn't like send out no invitations or nothing. Um, so I finally, let it be known. But now,
What was their
um,
reaction? What was their reaction? How first of all, how did you let it be? Like, what did you how did you say that if y'all
I
been
just
doing
put
it
it in the
forever?
group chat. I just put it in the group chat and
Okay.
say, hey, we won't be hosting this year, but we're open for invitations. So
Okay.
now
Okay.
this is what we've been hosting for the past 4 or 5 years. So of course, I felt like it needed to be said, because I think that was just always the dynamics that we were working with. Oh, everyone's going to come to their house or, to our house. And so it was fine. Then we were open to invitations and we received invitations from the
Mhm.
same family, but now I have
Mhm.
two invitations from two parts of the same family at two different
Yes.
places. And so I was
Yes.
like, hey, I said yes to one already. Are you like, you guys aren't going to be having it together? So now it's going to
Mm.
be, this is where I have to figure out like my own piece with
Yes.
this.
Yes.
How do I set these boundaries respectfully? Because I was told, hey, I'm going grocery shopping. Are you sure you guys are coming over here? So the groceries are
Yeah.
already bought.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And then the next day I get a different invitation. So I'm like, wait, why are we not just going to join together? Why are we
Because
not
in
just
your
picking
mind,
one
that's what would
place?
happen. Yes. Yes.
Yes. And so
Yes.
this is what I don't want. This is what I never wanted to happen, which is why I was always like, well, let us, my husband and I, we will be the place. And so I didn't realize that I was the one, like until now, until getting these two separate invitations, I didn't realize that I was the one who was bringing everyone together. I had
Oh,
no idea.
okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, I mean,
So I took it
obviously,
upon myself.
you. So obviously, you're the one that is very family oriented. Like you said, we're the multipliers. Let's just call it what it is. We
Mm-hmm.
are the joiners. We're the multipliers of our family. So people want to be around you, your kids, your nuclear family. So obviously, they're gonna like, yeah, let's go. Let's do this. That's gonna be
Yeah.
fun. And so now that you've taken yourself out of the equation, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, what is that? What does that look like? Who's gonna bring us together? Who Okay, we're not doing this together." Like, what?
Yeah.
But see, you didn't realize the impact that you had on them.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
also, like, I feel bad because, my mom, my parents, not just my mom, my parents live out of the city. And
Mhm.
I was just there having a Thanksgiving celebration. It was like a work thing because it's, with the family company. And, it was really nice. We were all together. My brother was there, just my side of the family now. Right. And so I'm like, okay, this is cool. Like, even though it's not Thanksgiving Day, we still got to have a chance to all be together and celebrate. Then my mom asked me, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? I'm like,
Mhm.
wonderful. Invitation number 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I will have to circle back around and see what I do because definitely prioritizing my peace is definitely not does not include driving around from house to house.
No.
So
No.
it's either I'm out of the
No.
city with my family or I'm in the city with my in-laws in one location.
Right.
And I am someone again who doesn't like to disappoint people.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
in this season that I'm in right now, if disappointing people means that I am choosing myself, then the disappointment will have to be sent out in the way that it gets sent out. That this is just
It's
gonna have
sent
to be
out.
what it is.
Yeah. Well,
It's if I, it's, yeah.
and I think too. I want you to think about that because in our minds, in your mind, because you are the person that you are, you have to think about, like, is it even a disappointment? Would it be a disappointment? Like, what if they're just extending invitations because that's what you've always done? What if they're just reciprocating it?
Mm,
So what if it's just a simple
true.
reply like, "Oh no, like we're going to do this," da, 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 da. It's not even, it doesn't even have to be that buildup of like, "Oh gosh, what if I say no? Da, 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 they're really," it,
Yeah. Look,
what if they're just
I'm high
extending the
anxiety.
invitation? Me
Look,
too, but that's
I'm high.
that's that's the question that you have to ask yourself. Like, it maybe it's not even all of that. Maybe it's just they're inviting you because you've invited everybody for the last how many years, and they're now doing what you did.
Yeah, true. True.
So I don't know. You'll
But
have to think about
it's
it.
just
You have to
look.
think
I
about
mean, it's hard. It's hard because these are two very close family members. So I'm like, why are
it.
we
Yeah,
not coming together?
yeah. And then
Join.
opening that up too during this time is not, is just like, okay, let me not even.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to know why we're not doing that. Let me just figure out what I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Yes.
But see,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
old, like Alyssa in her 20s would have been like, I would have called both people. I would have figured out both reasons why we're not like joining together, and I would have told each person, and so it would have been like, like just starting a fire. And it's like, I don't like
Yeah.
drama. I want solutions. I want. It was just like, no, that is
Mm-hmm.
kind of actually starting drama. Like, just worry about yourself. Worry about
Mm-hmm.
yourself. Figure out what you're gonna do. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, we'll circle back around
We will.
in
I'm
our
curious
update.
to find out. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna be going to the spa. I think I'm gonna go to the spa down there at the Hard Rock. They have a new
Oh,
spa down there,
nice.
or there's another one too that I might. So that's what I'm gonna be doing to protect my peace.
As you
Hmm.
should.
Yes,
As you
and then
should.
of course, there's movies that are coming out. Donnell wants to see Gladiator with Denzel.
Oh,
I want to
yes.
see Moana with Alina, and also I do want to see
Mm-hmm.
Wicked too. So I'm like, okay, we have things that we can do that are gonna be
Right.
fun, obviously. So
Yeah. Yeah, it
yeah.
is. It's going to be a nice time. Either way, that's exactly what you said. Prioritizing peace and joy,
Mhm.
because you can manifest that for yourself by making that the only option. My only option is
Mhm.
to enjoy this time and have fun during this time. And
Mhm.
especially because these are the memories that our children will have of the holidays. We want them to have good memories to look back on, like the same way that I do. I have wonderful memories of being with everybody coming to
Mhm.
one place. And even if
Mhm.
they were there only for a short amount of time, at
Mhm.
one point everyone was all together, whether it be for 30 minutes, whether it be for 4 hours.
Right. You
And
don't
it,
remember that. Like, you don't remember that
right.
like that. So that those are the things that you have to keep in mind. Like, my kids are
Mm-hmm.
literally 9 months and 3. So
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But yes, it's speaking of manifesting, that's going to take us right into our I Said What I Said segment, where we take listener manifestation success stories or anything that you want to manifest, or we just talk about manifesting in general. We had a good topic last week of talking about Tabitha Brown. I suggest that y'all go listen to that episode for that segment,
Mm-hmm.
and how she was able to manifest the life that she wanted. But today we're going to be talking about ChatGPT and how people are using it to manifest
By people, we mean us.
us. Us. Well, and other
Yes.
people too, like on social media,
I
other
know.
people are using it.
Yeah.
It is a manifestation tool. Like,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Yes,
Wow.
look, that's it's you've been the one finding the prompts and stuff. And I want to say kudos to you, because ChatGPT was something that I was a little bit scared to
Mhm.
delve into. And it's like, I'm glad that I followed your lead and didn't allow the fear to stop me, because we have used ChatGPT to do some real good stuff. Some
Yes.
like
Yes.
life changing, future altering, like,
Yes. Yes.
whew.
It is. So I had just started using it. I've only been using it like 2 or 3 months for the same reasons, like scared of it, like not wanting to give into it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but obviously we're raising kids that are going to be in the realm of using it, and it's here now. It's not, oh, it's coming. It's here. And so I was like, I don't want to be somebody who, like, so we all know those people that don't know how to use computers or phones or apps, or like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that parent. I'm like, I'm still young. I need to go with the times. I need to just see what it is. And so I was just using it for simple, like, oh, make a schedule, make a to-do list. um I need to redo something with this business, aspect of my business. Help me figure it out. And then it's literally snowballed into, oh, this is really helping me with see the future of my business. Like, this is opening my mind to the possibilities. Like, what is going on? Like, it literally helps you visualize. It's visualization. So it can help you visualize the possibilities of where things can go, what direction and decisions you can make. Like, I can't believe it. I cannot believe. And
Yeah.
then, so you talked about the future self prompt. One of my friends told me about it. It's on social media. Like, they're posting Instagram reels, like a day in the life of my future self. So the thing that it does is, when you start using it, it learns you. It sounds crazy, but it learns you, and the more you use it, the more it knows you, and the more it learns you. So if you do that prompt after you've used it, like I said, I've only used it a couple of months. So me putting that prompt in there, I'm just like, what is going on? So people are journaling. They're putting that prompt in there, a day in the life of my future self, or tell me about my future self, and they're putting it in their journals. They're using it to manifest. It's People are becoming emotional. Like, it's on another level. It's on another level.
It really is. And I used that prompt. And I I was blown away by yours, and I was like, I'm really curious to see what it says about me. And the fact that it literally, like, when you type in any sort of information about yourself, it says memory updated.
Yeah.
And so it holds on to that. And so when it's building the story of your future self, or what the prompt of tell me a day in the life of my future self, when we're talking about just one day, not like a generalized future, it remembers who you are. It remembers the businesses you have, the work that you do, what you enjoy doing. It
Mhm.
remembers that
Mhm.
you have children. It remembers like what you do now. And
Yeah.
it's taken me out of the resistance that I have of the here and now, right? Abraham
Okay.
Hicks always says you're stuck in the what isness, meaning like where I find myself, I do get stuck
Mhm.
in this is what I see around me, this is what's happening here and now. But in order
Okay.
to shift from that into a space that you really want to be, you have to imagine it, you have to visualize it, and you have to feel it. It has to be like
Mm.
living a dream in the here and now, not just
Mhm.
looking around and seeing, yeah, like what's right. Or let's say a car. This is not my situation, but seeing, yes, this is my old car that I have. Oh, bah humbug. Like,
Right.
I don't like this car, and be stuck
Right.
there, right?
Right.
But you can tell ChatGPT, this is the type of car that I'm looking forward to having in the future, and it will write a whole story about this car that you have and all the stuff that you like doing now.
Right.
Let's say my kayaking, for example. It'll tell me a story about how I'm going kayaking and my car fits this many kayaks and this many people, and I'm traveling to this place and that place. And it just builds a whole scene, a
It
whole
builds a whole
story
scene.
that I can sit back and either read or listen to it, read it out loud to me, and visualize
Mhm.
it and like go, wow, I am grateful for this next step that I'm about to take, because the next step after telling it to tell you a story about your day in the life or of your future self is then to say, how do I get there?
How
What are
do
the
I get
steps that I
there?
need to take now?
Yeah.
And it will map out everything. You keep
Yes.
telling it every single thing that you want to, that you don't know how to do, right? It's
that you
told
don't know
you.
how to do.
Like
It
for
gives you the
yes,
steps. It literally gives you the
yes, the
steps. One, two,
steps.
three.
And
Yes.
if those steps are hard, it's like it tells you like, oh, is this okay for you? Like, what else do you need help planning
Do
this
I
part
need
of the
help?
step out?
Exactly.
I'm like, now you're my mom and my
Exactly.
dad walking me through life.
No, this thing is replacing therapists. People are mad because obviously it's replacing graphic designers, it's replacing writers. Whole jobs are being taken out. Attorneys,
Right.
accounting, like therapists too. People are literally
Mm-hmm.
talking to it like, help me with this, help me with that. Like
Yes.
I saw a influencer
Mm-hmm.
mom on Instagram. She was just talking about co-parenting and how one of her the parent that she's supposed to be co-parenting with obviously is not present. So she uses ChatGPT to help her make decisions with okay, or just talk saying stuff out loud like, okay, my son is experiencing these symptoms. Her son was is teething. So
Mm-hmm.
she thought in her mind, like she's a nurse too, she thought in her mind like, okay, it could be his back molars coming in because he has a fever, he's fussy, he wants to bite things still. He just so but unless you're able to talk that out to somebody who is also a parent, you don't know. You're constantly questioning yourself. And so she put it in her chat GPT and the chat GPT literally said, yes, these are signs of teething. It might be his back molars. Exactly what she was thinking. It just validated her. So it's giving you in the moment validation. That's why I said could be replacing therapists because that's what therapy does. Like you're able to say everything, your deepest, darkest secrets, and then the person either validates you, tells you like you need to fix something, or tells
Mm-hmm.
you what direction you need to go. That's what ChatGPT is doing. Like I don't have
That's
to sit
amazing.
up here and wait for somebody to be available. Let me just type this issue in and see what it says.
Yes. 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 And I've been telling everybody now, use it. Use
Me
it. They come
too.
to me for advice. I'm like, look, you need to go to Chat GPT because that's where I'm getting my help.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh,
And it's
that
free.
it's well, I mean, people are paying for the upgraded version to have,
Mm-hmm.
I my brother said it's more memory, but I feel like it's more what it's more intelligent conversation, almost not intelligent,
It
but
is.
it's more intuitive conversation.
Yeah.
Like it's more intuitive to you, and so it uses the actual memory because he did say like before he was paying for the subscription he would have to say the same thing over and over again. He would have to
Oh,
repeat
okay.
himself, but with the paid
Okay.
subscription, he doesn't have to do that.
Remembers
It's
everything.
it
It keeps the
remembers
memory.
everything. It
Mm-hmm.
keeps in memory. Um, but so I forgot what I was about to say, but it's okay. We can keep going.
Oh.
We can keep going. But yeah, it's something that I didn't think was even. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. You telling people go ahead and use ChatGPT. You're now preserving your energy for something else.
Yes.
It's like I don't
Cha
have to
cha
sit up
cha.
here and use my brain power to help you figure because we're people that naturally want to help people. People come to us with
Yes.
issues, especially our family members talking about family dynamics, come to us with
Yes.
dilemma situation issues. It's just like, okay, why don't you go and use that and see how it can help you? Because I'm using it.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
not that I don't have time for you or have time for that, but it's just like use this to your advantage. It's going to help
Mm-hmm.
both of us if you do
It
that.
is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Look, because not my knowledge and time is limited.
Right.
Chat GPT, like it's AI that's learning from everyone that's typing things in. Like it's a
Yeah.
evolution. It's evolving daily, but
Yes.
based on everyone who's using it.
Yes.
And there's
Yes.
like I feel like there's no limit to what it can do. Even like my mother has used it. She's had a project that she has been working on for the past, I would say maybe 4 years that she's had this idea. And she was
Mhm.
like, you know what? I typed into Chat GPT and now I have step one through whatever. Now I can
Wow.
actually accomplish this.
Wow. And she
Now I
feels
can
like
do
she
it.
can. She feels like she can
Yes.
because she has it right there in front
And
of
that's
her.
all you
Yeah.
need is that support, that support. And once you feel like, okay, you know what? I can do this. That's all that manifesting really needs, right? That's the
Mhm.
energy behind the manifestations that you need is to feel like
Mhm.
this is possible.
Mhm.
And that's what
Mhm.
it's allowing us. That's what it's providing to us.
Mhm. Well, and
I love that.
That is, I mean, you're so right. Like I typed into ChatGPT, helping make a plan for balancing, time with between the two families. And, I typed in my dilemma and it basically helped me come up with the reframe for why I'm doing it. And encouraged me, because it was something that I said, like, I am already, like, I say I want to protect my peace, but I'm already losing my peace because I'm worrying about this.
Yes,
So let me
yes.
just put this in here and see what it says. And it literally empowered me and it encouraged me and it told me what I would tell somebody else. So
Mm.
I'm like, wow, this
Mm-mm-mm.
really knows me, because I feel like this is
Mm-hmm.
me talking to me. Like, this is what I would tell one
Yes.
of my friends, but I can't tell myself that because I'm like, yeah, but the fact that this is saying something like empower yourself, protect your peace,
Mm-hmm.
reframe the situation. You know where you want your
Mm-hmm.
energy to go. Take ownership of the things that you want out of this. What do you want? I'm just like, oh shoot,
Mm.
that got me all the way together.
Yes, girl. Look, I do have to say that I almost manifested issues that I didn't want. And I told
Oh, okay.
ChatGPT, I was like, this was yesterday. I was like, no, Saturday. But anyway, 2 days ago, I was like, I am so upset right now. Like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to say. And
Yeah.
girl, ChatGPT said, think about how that is going to affect your future. This could bring about situations and feeling of yada, 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 yada. Are you sure you want to do that? I was like,
What is this thing
fine.
doing? What is
Fine, I won't do
right.
that.
Right. Well, and then see, if you were to say that to one of your friends, you can just pick any of your friends. Like, we are to the point now of the age now where we know, like, if I tell this friend this, I'm gonna have this response. If I tell this friend this, I'm gonna have this response. So like, you don't want to say anything to your friends because like, I'm gonna have this response, this response, this response. So what if it was a friend that you said that to, and like, yeah, girl, just go ahead, and they're just like,
Exactly.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes. So use it, y'all. Use
Use
ChatGPT.
it, use
Use
it,
it.
and
Google
send
it. Google how to use it. If this
Google how
isn't
to
enough,
use
if we
it.
didn't,
Look up
yeah.
on Instagram different prompts. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many people on Threads. Threads is another platform, via Instagram, that has free prompts for
Mm-hmm.
anything business related, accounting related, legal, daily tasks, daily activities with living, like anything.
Yeah.
um Use it, but don't forget to send us your manifestations or success stories, or if you try chat gpt, one of the prompts that we were talking about, tell us the story. We want to hear it. Email us at keepexpectingmiracles@gmail.com, or send us a message on Instagram at keepexpectingmiraclespod. That leads us to our next segment.
Mm-hmm.
I got a herb for that.
I got a nerve for that. Yes.
Elderberry.
Our favorite, one of our
Yes.
favorites is elderberries.
Yes. Yes. Tell
Yes.
us
The
about
Latin
elderberry.
name. Yeah. I know we talked. I know I'm diving right in. I wanted to talk about
Mhm.
the Latin name Sambucus nigra. I don't have that
Yeah.
Spanish tongue. How would you say it? Because I feel like it's a
Well, I mean, I don't know. Sambucas nigra.
yeah.
I don't know if
Okay.
that's how you say it. Like,
Okay.
I'm just, is that, Sambucas nigra.
Yes. Yes.
We wanted to
Yes.
just have a little bit of structure to this segment, just because herbs are very important and special to us. So we're gonna see if this works, like giving the Latin name of the herb, because sometimes it's not always, on things or on the labels. The Latin name is the most universal thing that you can identify. So we're like, okay, let's just include
Right.
that in the segment. So that's why we're
Right.
starting off with that. But go ahead, Jessica.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and also I want to just add, like, I told you too that I wanted to make sure we add that because when I shop at a lot of, let's say if I go into an Indian market, or if I go into a Spanish market, or if I go into a Chinese market, um,
Mhm.
those places often have cheaper grocery, which is why I go there. But
Mhm.
also, if I'm buying some herbs from there, I don't know what it is in their language, but the Latin name typically is on the product, and the Latin
Okay.
name will be, the Sambuca snica. And if I know
Right.
that, then I know what I'm purchasing.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's
But
what
yes.
if you, cuz I've bought elderberry syrup before, like from Walgreens, from the drugstore, like they'll have that as the name. Like
Mm-hmm.
obviously elderberry will be small, but Sambucas is, I've seen it, like the syrup sold as Sambucas. So it's just that
Yeah,
might
because there's a
be
brand. There's a brand that uses.
oh, so maybe that's what it was then.
hmm hmm
Maybe that's what
Probably
it was.
so. Did you want to go into talking about some of the research-based benefits?
Yes, yes. So it lowers your inflammatory response. It strengthens your immune system. We are using it now more than ever during this season because it helps you, it stops you from getting the cold and flu. I know people, herbalists, and just people that they make it at the beginning of cold and flu season, and then they keep it. They keep making it, or they keep it, they preserve it, and they just use it throughout for their entire family.
hmm
It prevents viruses. So one thing, when you get a cold, you have that inflammatory response. You get mucus, you get congestion, you just, you get headaches. So it fights that from the beginning. And literally have seen so many people, like my friend, one of my friends in Arizona, she's just like, girl, I made elderberry syrup in my crock pot and I give it to my kids. Like obviously we have small school age children that get sick continuously. She was like, I gave it to my kids, and one of my kids, and she was better in like 2 days. And I was like, what? Like,
Yes.
it literally fights off a virus in 2 days.
Yes, I have I'm going to be referencing one of my herbal books that I use. Sorry for the noise on, if you're listening on the podcast on not Instagram, on YouTube, you'll see I'm holding up my book called The Little Herb Encyclopedia. I got a lot of my herbal information from here. But to that point, there's a sentence that I'd like to read here. It says, although elderberry tea has been employed for generations as a folk remedy for such conditions as colds, coughs, and flu, in recent years, researchers have discovered that elderberries contain vibrinic acid, a substance that induces perspiration, which is useful in cases of bronchitis and similar ailments. So you are able
Mm.
to use it for, um, anything that goes on with the respiratory system.
Mm-hmm.
It's also recommended for anyone who has seasonal allergies because
Mm.
it helps with the responsive inflammation, the mucus
Okay.
production and the inflammation. So it's also one of the only herbs that are actually just recommended and have been researched for helping with viruses in general. Like you
Okay.
have the medical background. I took some science courses at the college level as well, where they say like there's no cure for viruses, right? It just
Mm-hmm.
has to pass. Well,
Mm-hmm.
when you take an elderberry, it's one of the only herbs that help to get rid of the virus.
It
So
treats
it's
it.
it's
It
very
treats it.
magical to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, there are no contraindications. I have
Oh.
a textbook here that always tells me the contraindications. I'll list it in the um, show notes, but
Description. Yeah.
yeah, I'll list it in the show note descriptions. But usually there are contraindications, like we talked about cinnamon the last time, where because of what
Mm-hmm.
it does with blood
Mm-hmm.
sugar, you want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that you're working with a doctor to make sure you're not counteracting your current blood sugar medication, right?
Right. Right.
Or
Right.
any issues happen with that. But with elderberry, it doesn't have any known researched drug or side effects. Or excuse me, it doesn't have any known side effects, and it doesn't have any known drug interactions. The only thing that I'm going to recommend is not eating it raw. Like, don't take the
Oh
dried
yeah. No.
elderberries and eat it like
Yeah.
like
So
that.
So the most common thing that you can do is get the dried elderberries and
Mm-hmm.
make a decoction or a syrup out of it, meaning you measure out. Um, I just made it this past week, so I want to say like a cup of elderberry to 2 to 3 cups of water,
Mm-hmm.
purified water. Um, I don't measure stuff when I make my medicine, so it's kind of like when I do measurements, it's intuition based.
Mm-hmm.
But so I made a syrup. You can make a tea or a syrup, and you do that. I actually add hawthorn berry, ginger, cinnamon, and I just let it sit in the crock pot all day long now because it's I can just put it on and go, and it simmers and it gets all the medicine it comes out of it, and it comes together. And I then make that syrup. You can either drink the syrup as a tea, but it's very, very strong. You can use a syrup, just as like a dropper in some tea, put things in. Or what Jessica gave me the idea because she's made elderberry lemonade for people for somebody one time. She's like, "Oh yeah, it's a good lemonade." So now what I do is I'll add fresh lemon juice to it because hello benefits of lemon juice when you feel like you're getting a cold, and then the water. So it's literally elderberry lemonade, and my daughter loves it. She's 3 years old. She's like, "Oh, it's elderberry time!" Like she loves the
Oh
smell
my
of it.
gosh.
She wants to drink it, and we drink it cold. Like we just drink it like
Yeah.
as a lemonade, and I made it for my mom and dad too. They loved it. They're like, "Oh, this is
Because
really
food is
good."
medicine.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it is. Food is definitely medicine. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
And, spiritually, which is something that we had to research because oftentimes we don't think about the spiritual aspects of our foods. We think about, well, what is it going to do to help us physically?
yeah,
But our physical body and spiritual body are connected. And you and I both learned that it is called the elder, right? The plant is the elder
mm,
plant.
mm-hmm,
And I've seen the
mm-hmm,
plants in person before, fully grown. It is beautiful. But you
mm.
learned from Empress Karen Rose. Can you
Yes,
read about
yes,
that or discuss that?
yes. Empress Karen Rose, she has a wonderful book called Spiritual Herbalism. I highly recommend it. And it's actually, let me hold on one second.
While you're looking for it, I'm gonna talk about also part of the spiritual benefits, or excuse me, the spiritual aspects of the plant. Each plant or herb that we cover is related to a planet, and elderberry is related to the planet, or is associated, excuse me, associated with the planet Venus. And the
Venus.
element, each herb is also associated with an element, and water is the element for elderberry.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Yes. But so her book, I found the book. Her book is The Art
Mm-hmm.
and Practice of Spiritual Herbalism: Transform, Heal, and Remember with the Power of Plants and Ancestral
Mm,
Medicine. So this is like, oh my goodness.
it's gold. That book is
Yes,
gold.
it is. It is. So she has elderberry in here, and it talks about how it's actually the name of it. Elder is a tree, so elder trees grow in many of our communities, and I'm just reading right out of her book. The berries can be used as medicine when dried. That's what I just said. Elder spiritually is true to its name, offering the protection of a familiar elder. Many compare its energy to a protective guardian or grandfather, shielding us from storms and connecting us to the land of the fairies. The tree's wood makes magical wands that invoke protection upon its users. So I
Wow.
love that. I love that.
Wow. Yes.
Yes, but there is one thing that she does say in here that I forgot. The fresh berries. Now we're talking about using the dried berries, but the fresh berries are laxatives.
E.
And so I noticed too, like when we drink it, obviously our GI is flowing.
Mm-hmm.
It's flowing, which is a good thing. That's what you want when you're sick. You want things to just flow and
Right.
move out. So it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, which because you had said it's a diuretic before that it helps the process. It basically helps with the excuse me, elimination of the toxins, the virus
Yes.
that, that's there. So our bodies, the natural processes of eliminating waste in whatever way it, I covered perspiration and, the other gross ways that we eliminate toxins from our
Yeah.
body.
Yes.
It
Yes.
helps with,
The
yeah, I
flow.
would,
It helps with the flow. Let's just say
exactly.
that. It helps with the flow.
Yes, but I love
But
that
yes.
the magic wands lead us into our next
Yes, our next
topic.
segment. Yes,
Yes.
witchy shit. We had to revisit. So for witchy shit, this is where we talk about um anything witchy, like in our daily lives or just out in society. Funny, something funny, connections that we make up. And so the we've been talking about we've talked about in a previous episode the magic of Disney. And I was like, we have to revisit it. We did not give the kudos and the respect to the multicultural Disney movies Encanto and Coco. Those movies, brilliant, brilliant. The music, Lin Manuel Miranda with Encanto was just amazing. He's just out of this world with his character development, with his song choices. Like just watching the behind the scenes of like how he's come up with the concept and the personality of each character. I mean, if you've seen Hamilton, you know what I'm talking about. Like he's just brilliant. But the same thing with Coco. I wanted to touch on and revisit that because that is the one movie. It highlights Mexican culture and their ancestral veneration to the Day of the Dead and how they connect with their ancestors on that day and they convene with them and they honor them. And so I was just like, we have to highlight that. That is Disney is tapped in. They're tapped. We're just gonna say it again. They're
Yeah.
tapped in with the magic. But Encanto specifically, I wanted to talk about that movie. You could literally do 5 episodes talking about each character, each you can talk about whether or not their gifts are. Me and Donnell said that he was having a conversation with one of his friends, one of his colleagues actually, that was saying, "Oh, those are," so this was his perception. "Oh, those aren't magical gifts that those family members have. Those are mental illnesses." And it's just
Oh,
like,
shoot.
but see that it can, if depending on your perspective and your lens, that's obvious. You could say that. You could say, yes, that is a mental illness. Like Peppa,
Wow.
one of the aunts that has like she worries, and then the weather, um if she's like sad, it's raining. If she's
Hmm.
like anxious, she's like, I'm thundering. So she has like a cloud. I hear the grandma say, Peppa, you have a cloud, because she's worried, like she's trying to figure out. That's anxiety. That is anxiety.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
it's just like depending on your perspective, of your lens, like this movie resonates with people and it has people talking. Obviously the song We Don't Talk About Bruno, like that is very, whether you're Hispanic, black, like we all have a crazy uncle somewhere. We all have we do, and it highlights that, it shares that, and so it's just like, wow, Disney, like wow, this is really good.
Yeah.
But even Bruno and his magical gifts, like they deemed him as like the crazy one, but his gift was um he can see. He can see into the future. He's a seer. He can tap in. And so depending on how far you go into it, if he stays in that realm too long, then it can send him over the edge, and that's what it did.
Hmm.
Or based on people's perceptions of his visions, they deemed him like, no, we don't want that. That's too much of the truth. You're showing us
Yes.
something that we don't want to see. But let me
Yes.
rein it back in and actually talk about the family dynamics, because that's what this episode is about, the family dynamics of that show. There is Mirabelle. She's a magical little girl, and she doesn't discover her gift until the end of the movie, of how she's brings everybody together in the family. She is the
Hmm.
magic. She represents the magic herself. But she is the one that exposes everybody in the family. She asks the questions. She looks further into, wait, like, Louisa, like, why are you losing your gift, Louisa? Like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? Like, she's the only one that can see the cracks in the house. Like, the
Yes.
cracks, the house doesn't reveal its flaws to anybody but her. So
Mm.
she has the gift, and I'm getting chills because I feel like, I mean, I can see myself in all the characters, but Mirabelle is somebody that I resonate with because I'm naturally inquisitive. Like I said, 20-year-old Alyssa would have been like, "What's going on? Like, we got to solve this problem. Like, she's very naive in that way. She's very bold and going up to the people in her family and like, okay, so tell me more about that." And obviously, I used to be a therapist, so that fits my personality too. But she has so much courage in that movie to be the one that exposes things and brings things to light because she see that something's wrong with the house, but she doesn't know why.
Yeah.
And let's just be honest, when you live in a black family or Hispanic family, I mean, any family, like, we don't want our secrets to be told. We don't want things
Hmm.
to be uncovered. We don't want, like, why are you asking those questions? Mind your business. Stay in a child's place. Like, how many times have we
Yes.
heard that?
Right.
So she is the one to do that, and it makes the grandma upset. The grandma in the entire movie is just like, "Where are you doing? What are you doing? Go somewhere. Like, what? Go sit down. Don't make any problems for us. This is an important time for our family. Just be quiet." And she is persistent and courageous and has to figure out what's wrong with the house. And at the end, it's so crazy. I get emotional at the end of that movie because she stands up to her grandma. So basically the issue is that the underlying issue, because there's so many layers, but what I got from it, what resonated with me is that the family, especially coming from a family, my grandma was an immigrant, was married to somebody that, was in the military and brought her over to America from Panama. And so there are parallels. So as an immigrant, a person that has children, you want to assimilate, you want to fit in, you want to be accepted. And so my grandma naturally became the person that was giving and loving, and she's very well known in her community for just being open, and everyone loves her. But it's when you have to figure out what you're sacrificing when you're that type of person. When
Mm.
you are the person in your family or in the community that is a pillar, that is a strength, that is a giver, that is a doer for everybody else. And what dynamic does that create with your children? Like, what are your children learning from? Are your
Right.
children learning to protect their peace, protect their boundaries, or
Mm.
are they just people pleasing? Are they
Mm.
just saying yes when they don't need to be? How are they
Right.
taking care of their own households or not, because they're trying to be that or be what you were to your community? And so that is essentially what Mirabelle's grandma was, in the movie. Like, she was telling them, like, we got to be, our gifts have to be intact, our gifts have to be strong, we have to help the community, God gave us these gifts for a reason, we're helping our community. But Mirabelle is just like, okay, yeah, but our house is sick, there's
Mm.
problems within our home, and the problem
Mm.
is you, because you're pushing everybody. She literally says the problem is you, because she's
Yeah.
pushing everybody to be so perfect and to give, 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 give. But let's look at what we're giving ourselves.
Right. Can't pour from an empty cup.
You can't pour from an empty cup, and you have to take care of home first,
Yes.
grandma.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
I just resonate with that character because she was so brave, and she stood up to her grandma. And the grandma had at first, the response is like, "Whoa, you're talking back, you're being disrespectful." But her grandma was able to heal. Her grandma was able to
Hmm.
show her, like, look, this is why, this is the story of how we got our gifts. And it shows a beautiful, like, flashback of the story, which this is where I cry. And it shows her what the grandma sacrificed. Um
Mm.
for the family to have those gifts. And I just think about my grandma and what she sacrificed to be here in the United States, and how she had to leave her family behind, leave her family of origin, leave her siblings. She, brought them over one by one, but leave her mom and dad. She wasn't able to see her mom when her mom died, like attend the funeral. And um
Oh, wow.
like there's just so many different points of sacrifice,
Mhm.
that she made just to be here and raise her own family, be married to my grandpa. But it's so you're standing up to an elder, but you're also remembering like they went through things too, and this is why the way that they are.
Mhm.
So it's I haven't said there's parallels, but no, that's not actually what happened in my family. But I can see, like, it helps you understand behavior, it helps
Mhm.
you understand reasons. And so I wanted to really talk about that. I'm sorry for dominating that segment, but I'm like, this
Oh, girl, no.
movie is hurting my that hurts my heart. It heals my heart, and it
Mhm.
heartstrings are being tugged when I watch it every single time.
Yeah. No, yeah, I feel like you connected to that movie more so than I did because you're,
Mm,
it pulls at the heartstrings just because it's a mirror
mhm,
of what you've experienced.
mhm.
Um, and my thing was that as I was watching the movie, it's one of those movies that I actually had a hard time sitting down and watching. And when I finally did, I think I watched it like once. You've watched it way more times than I have, so you have
I've
been able to
seen it
soak
probably
in.
100 times because Alina
Yeah,
likes the music and it's everybody's, like I said, it's multicultural. So they have Black
yeah.
Hispanics, they have Hispanics with red hair and green eyes, and like it
Hmm.
shows the diaspora. It shows
Yeah,
everybody. So I love it. But continue, go on.
yeah. Well, I noticed how the grandmother was just like shunning. I couldn't understand, like, how could you treat your granddaughter that way? And it's because
Mm,
her Maribel, the granddaughter, completely um was opening a wound, I guess, for her, because
mhm,
it's like if we don't present as perfect, that's I remember this from the movie, that if they didn't present as perfect and that they had everything together, then people were going to lose faith in them to be the pillar of
mm,
the community. But
mhm,
it's like, well, she's
mhm,
bringing something to your attention, why not look into it? Why are you afraid to face it? And I think
mhm,
that's an issue in many families,
mhm,
where you're not wanting to face what the problems actually are. You're not wanting to talk about it, or maybe it's just too painful and people
mm.
don't know how to navigate that. Insert ChatGPT actually helps with that. If you go ahead and type it in there, um, alchemizing
Can
emotions like
we
we
be
do
a
when we do what you
sponsor?
should.
Right,
Um,
right,
so
right.
the to see in the end that there was a full circle moment where we saw why the grandmother felt like she had to represent the family in that way and basically
Mhm,
sacrifice the well-being and really the internal happiness of her own
mhm,
children and grandchildren,
mhm.
just so that the community can look up to them,
Right,
you know,
right.
that that is it took everything falling down and falling apart for her to finally
Crumbling,
go,
crumbling.
okay, fine. And then I think, is it in the movie, didn't the whole community show up for them
Yeah, they
after
did.
to rebuild everything? Yeah.
To
So
rebuild the house, yes. Mhm,
there are so many messages there. There are so many
mhm,
messages there, and it's, I think,
mhm,
even you and I have experienced this, include in with people like psychics and mediums and different people that we look up to. When we see their vulnerable side, how we're like,
mm.
whoa, you're a normal person, right?
Yes,
And it does make you feel like, but I look up to you for this, but it doesn't. We're human.
yes,
Although they're psychics, although we're mediums, although we're all this stuff, we are still human and we still need help. And that is
yes.
what the
Oh,
movie shines a light on.
oh, yes,
Everyone needs help at some
yes,
point.
yes. You are so right. You are so right, and that is it. That's an important part to remember. And like I said, that movie is so multifaceted and many messages and layers. Watch it.
Yes.
Watch it with your kid. It's a kid-friendly movie, but I yeah, that's why I was like, "Wait, we gotta recircle this," and I'm so happy we did.
Yes.
I'm so happy we did. So that concludes this week's episode. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for tuning in. We hope that everyone is getting what they need to get for healing, for transformation, for entertainment, for flow. Please review, rate and review us, like and subscribe on
Mhm.
YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at Keep Expecting Miracles Pod, and listen to us next week. We love you.
Yes.
Until next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye bye.